one of my favorite starting points, and I often think of stuff in yoga as like something to energize or to increase energy, something to relax or decrease energy, and then something to stabilize. So let's start with stability. We will start right here in our 3-part breath. I gave us the option last week if we would like to place a hand on heart and belly. Sometimes people prefer both hands on heart, both hands on belly, or no hands on the torso, just relaxed and open. But I do find that touching the physical body to feel our movement of breath can help us tune inwards. We can also close our eyes if we would like to tune inwards. So we begin with our 3-part breath. What is that? It's a way of sort of visualizing just taking a full breath in. So let's just feel what a normal breath is if we try to take a deep breath without forcing. And then to turn it into our 3-part breath, we can do it through picturing it. So imagine that we are filling our lungs the same way we would fill a glass of water. So we fill it first, the bottom. We keep filling that glass of water. We fill the middle. And then finally we fill that glass of water all the way to the top. So we can picture our lungs filling like that, bottom to top. Sometimes people even like to take their hands as they inhale, taking them from the bottom. And as their lungs fill, bringing the hands all the way to the top of where we picture our lungs might be. And then as we breathe out, releasing all the way down. So I've given us a whole bunch of options. We could be moving our hands as we go. We could be picturing a glass of water. Or we could have our hands on our bodies. Let's do a few more breaths in and out like that. Noticing how it feels as we go. Seeing if this breath does make your energy feel more steady, more alert, more asleep. And then I'll give us the option to add on a variation of square breathing. So it goes like this. We inhale the same way we've been inhaling, and then we hold our lungs full and hold the breath for a moment. Then we breathe out the same way we've been breathing out. And with our lungs empty, we hold the breath for a moment. So it goes like this. Inhale, pause, exhale, pause. Let's try that a few times here. Nice gentle breath, breathing in a way that feels good, feels like you're getting enough air. And one last time, let's check in. Notice how this style of breathing makes you feel. Did it do anything to your energy? Maybe yes, maybe no. Just noticing. And then we can go ahead and open the eyes. We can rest our hands and let's get moving. Often we start by circling our shoulders. Maybe we like to inhale and really squeeze the shoulders up to the ears. And then exhale, release. Again, thinking about changing our energy. How does it make us feel with our energy if we squeeze our shoulders up and then really squish our faces with it too? And then relax, let our faces go really droopy as we relax our shoulders down. Let's do that one more time. Squeeze up and then droop down. Sometimes making a face like you ate a lemon can perk your energy up a little bit. And let's do our spinning top. So we're going to take our bodies and move in a circle. This one can kind of loosen up around the hips, maybe you feel it, or in your legs or in your back. Maybe you notice it in your balance. But the idea is that it gets our bodies going, and again can help our posture be taller so that our energy can be maybe a little bit more brighter, cheerful. And this one is interesting because sometimes people will feel really hot as soon as they start doing it, or sometimes they feel like laughing or some other kind of emotion, and the choice is yours. You can always pause at any point, or we can keep circling. Maybe a challenge for our coordination. Notice which way you're going, and then we have to switch sides, right? We should make it balanced. We go both ways. Sometimes we get confused or a little bit tangled, figuring out which way we were just going, which way we want to be going. Making sure we're still breathing, right? Breathing gives us the energy that we need to stay alert and focused. Last circle here. We'll come back through into center, finding stillness. Set our posture once more. Tall and proud and energized. Let's move our spine. So we'll take one hand down, one hand up, and we'll alternate side to side. Big breath in and stretch as far as you can. And then we breathe out and we come back through center, sitting tall. All right, that's our pattern. Big breath in and stretch. And then back through center. And then I encourage everybody doing this to go at their own perfect pace. So my lungs are the right size for my body. Your lungs are the right size for your body. You might need to breathe a little bit faster than I breathe or a little bit slower, and that works better for you. Some people just move more quickly or more slowly, and I actually encourage everyone to kind of match your own personality as you go. Okay, let's go just once more. We'll come back through center. And the other thing we're going to do tonight, I think I forgot to say this, is some kind of aggressive sort of movements. So let's start with one here. Like we're starting a lawnmower, we're going to reach our hands forward. We can make tight fists. And we're going to pull back one elbow at a time. And if you've never seen somebody pull start a lawnmower, I don't know, maybe if you think like you're in like an action movie and, you know, sometimes they're in a fight scene and there's like a bad guy, they got to get behind them, whatever makes sense for you. We're pulling back really strong. Maybe you're imagining your Amazon packages just arrived and you have to, you know, rip that strip off the bag to open it, whatever you like to picture. But let's be a little bit more aggressive with that elbow and then see if we can turn our heads to go with it. So sometimes this one can feel really playful, or maybe an emotion that gives us a lot of energy can sometimes be anger. Maybe this one feels like there's some anger that's going to be released, and it won't be the only movement we do today that's like that, but let's do just once more each way. I hope we are warming up, feeling a little bit hotter. Let's do a bigger movement now. We'll take one hand all the way around and back. We'll pause for a moment here. So we're going to do a bigger twist, a little bit slower, holding longer. Let's take a breath in and out. And we'll go to the other side. Big sweep up, around and back. Tall spine. Hold for another breath in and out. Let's come back through center. And let's windshield wipe our legs to kind of loosen up the lower body so we can plant our feet. Let our knees go side to side, really any way that feels comfortable. Sometimes people like to shake the legs out in front instead. I'm getting a little bit warm. I think I no longer need my socks. And I encourage you, of course, if you warm up, we can take off any layers. And let's make our way into child's pose. Probably done child's pose before, sitting our hips down and back. If we can, resting our forehead on the mat. And it's actually supposed to be quite good for our emotional health to let our stomachs rest on our legs. This is supposed to push happy feelings, happy chemicals. One of them is, I don't know if we know what serotonin is, but that's the name of the chemical that can make us feel kind of happy, peaceful, at ease. And it comes from our stomachs up to our brains so that we can feel it. So of course, at any point we could rest in child's pose, but for now, let's keep moving. We'll spread our fingers wide and let's make our way through cat and cow. So I always like to think of it this way. We make our spines into the shape of a rainbow, and then we make our spines into the shape of the letter U, going in the opposite direction. And we flow back and forth the same way we were just flowing back and forth through our other two exercises. And you might like to shift your weight forward and back as you go. That might feel kind of nice. So there's always some creativity with our poses. Yes, we're doing, traditional standard yoga poses, but we can play around with each of them. And if we're thinking about our closed heart posture, let's finish in the opposite direction in our cow pose, really stretching our hearts forward. And then yogi's choice, we can rest back again in child's pose, or maybe we would prefer a downward dog, lifting our bodies up into an upside down V. If you've ever seen a dog, sometimes when it wakes up from a nap, it likes to do this kind of pose and kind of wag its tail side to side. So we could do that same sort of movement that a dog would do, just like the name of the pose, downward dog. We can wag our tails side to side. And let's take one foot forward between our hands. We can drop our back knee for kneeling lunge. Doesn't matter if it's right or left. And we'll keep flowing and breathing. Let's shift our weight front and back. So lunges, generally most people do well with lunges. Not everybody likes lunges, especially kneeling lunges. So you might need a cushion or a pillow or a carpeted floor or just something soft underneath the knee as we flow front and back. And then notice, as we keep doing in so many of these poses, notice what it feels like for you. Do you like some parts of the pose? Do you not like some parts of the pose? Does it feel energizing? Do you feel fatigued? And that's just information for us about what yoga does to each of us at home. Although it does change from time to time, so just because that's how we feel today, doesn't mean that's how we're always going to feel. All right, let's step back into, again, downward dog or child's pose. We got to take this to the other side. So down dog or child's, and then we step the opposite foot forward. And when we're ready, let's flow front and back. Again, listening for the messages coming from our bodies. Does this pose feel like a good fit for you? Is there something else you'd like to be doing? Sometimes it's more comfortable to take the feet and the knee wider on the mat or closer on the mat. Some of us do better having our hands down to help with our balance. Can feel like more of a flexibility challenge. And we just keep breathing and flowing and moving. Okay, a couple more. I hope our lower body is limbered up, ready to work. This time, instead of stepping backwards, let's step forwards. We'll come into a forward fold. So both feet step together and our bodies can hang. We can hold onto our elbows if that feels good. And again, we can let our bellies rest on our thighs. Noticing if that feels like a good option for you to let your stomach rest on your legs. Maybe it doesn't feel so good, you could always skip it. Maybe we give our heads a little shake, loosening up our necks. And then let's all make our way up to standing. And we'll reset once we get there with our basic breath. Sweeping the arms, big breath up, and then exhale, hands to heart. And let's add that concept of, instead of slumping here, lifting up, reversing our closed heart posture. If it feels good, we can turn it into an open heart posture. Okay, last one here. We'll bring hands to heart. And we're going to step the feet wide. So if so often we set our mats up sort of like we're on the end of a diving board. You can turn sideways to the mat like me. I don't know how it works for everybody at home, but we're stepping our feet wide. And we're going to come up into star pose. So we're making our bodies into a giant X. And then let's stretch ourselves really big on our inhale. And then as we breathe out, elbows and knees bend together. So we're going to make ourselves like a beautiful star. And a nice, really big, strong pose here. So we'll have this foundation of these really wide poses. I used to have a teacher who called it bear pose, like you were a grizzly bear. And you're kind of like, ah, you know, like big and scary. So maybe you like that image of a bear instead of a star. But sometimes it does feel sort of weird, especially if you're a more quiet or shy person, that yoga gets us to do these really big, strong poses, and that's okay. You might find that feels kind of weird for your energy, and it's just something to notice, of course. Okay, let's stretch up and out into star. We'll take a big breath in, and then we'll take our hands down to our hips. To reset our feet, we're going to turn our toes more forward, and we'll do a similar sort of pattern. We'll bend one leg at a time, coming down low. We'll come back up through center, breath in, and then we'll bend the other leg, coming down low. I'm going to keep layering options. So maybe at the top, we make a really strong elbow pull back like we did, and then we come down onto our thigh, pulling back, and then down. And if you want to do the breath like we did before, we can inhale at the top, and then exhale at the bottom, option to take it lower. Good. So we add a lot of strength, confidence at the top in this tall, proud movement. Okay, once more each way. Let's come back to the center. Okay, we'll do one of my favorites here. Let's rub our hands together to warm them up. And we're going to imagine that we have fireballs in our hands. And you might notice, like me, you want to sneak your feet a little bit closer. They're slipping apart on the mat. Okay, so we have hot hands. We've got fireballs in each hand. And it's going to look like this. We're going to open through the center. And then we're going to pivot and twist. And we're going to shoot that fireball off our hand. All right, we'll come back through center. Breathe in. And then exhale. Perfect. Breathe in. Exhale. Good. So again, these movements that feel, I don't know, energizing, a little bit angry, kind of fierce, powerful, feels a little different for everyone, but there should be this feeling of kind of, yeah, strength and power. Sometimes it feels nice if we are angry to do these kind of movements, shooting fireballs off our hands to get that movement out. Sometimes we like to make noise as we go, do a little huh, or whatever you like. We'll go once more each way. And then let's slow it down. Same kind of movement, but we make it more gentle. Let's do a little flip off the hand. Just a gentle little fireball as we go. A little flip and release. Once more each way. And we'll come back through center. And let's take our fingertips and tap on our collarbones. So I did mention some feelings that we might have in our energy body, like anger, anxiety, feeling kind of on edge or uncertain, and tapping on our collarbones or that bone in the center of the chest can sometimes help to lift those feelings. Right? Sometimes that nervous energy might make us feel a little bit like we're vibrating, so we can put that vibration into our collarbones instead. Take a few rounds of breath, and then hopefully that helps that feeling kind of dissipate. All right, we're gonna let that go. Again, might feel good to kind of do some movements to get rid of that. Even though the feelings are inside our bodies, doing outside movements can sometimes help to release them. Okay, we're gonna step back to the top of the mat. We're gonna keep doing some strengthening exercises. Again, let's think about opening our hearts. We're going to step back, alternating a step back. So let's start with our hands in our yogi hand posture, hands at heart center. Doesn't matter which one we start with, we're stepping back with one foot and then to the top of the mat. And then we're stepping back with the other foot and to the top of the mat. So we're challenging our balance, we're challenging our strength. If you want to feel more like you're getting a really big workout, yeah, we could take a big step back into a variation of warrior one or a big lunge. And then let's again open our hearts. We might even want to take our thumbs as we do this, take our thumbs to our shoulders as we go through as a way of checking that our posture is good. Sort of we're making our muscles here, but the direction we point our thumbs in kind of determines where our arms go, right? So if we bring our thumbs or even our fingertips to our shoulders, then we know that we're in good shape. If we want to make it even bigger, we can do, again, like we're showing our muscles, we can spread our fingers, elbows up and out. And maybe as we're going, we imagine that we're growing. So we're getting a little bit taller as we go, crown of the head stretches up. Our legs are getting longer, our feet press down. Our arms are getting longer, they really stretch out side to side. Our bodies are getting longer, really lifting up. Okay, let's go ahead and take one foot back, and I'll try to lead us through without doing any rights or left. Let's go ahead and notice which leg is in the back. That same arm is going to reach up. So if it's my right leg in the back, my right arm reaches up. And let's give a good stretch to lengthen out that side of the body. And then let's take the same hand down so that we have one foot in front and one hand in front, and we can take our hand to our knee and turn our bodies towards our front legs. So we're adding some twist. My floor hand is going to push down really quite strongly, and then my free hand is going to reach up to the ceiling also quite strongly, like I'm growing in opposite directions. Let's take our hands down and we'll step our feet again into our forward fold. Might feel nice to take a little break, resting on our legs, shaking our heads. And then we're going to make our way all the way back up to the top, and we can reset with a breath when we get there. And now we're on the other side. So think about which side you just did. We're going to step back with the other leg. Notice which leg we stepped back with. It's that same hand that's reaching up to the sky, lengthening out. Giving us some stretch down the side of the body, maybe the hip. This hand that's in the air is going to come down on the inside of our front foot. Our other hand is on our knee. We're going to turn and twist towards our knee, and then we're stretching our arms in both directions. Now, of course, if we find that we're falling over, we're confused, we're twisted, we could stay in the standing variation, or maybe we're dropping our back knee. Instead, we can make it work so that we feel successful. More important to feel successful than to look super fancy. All right, we'll take both hands down. We'll step our feet together. We can take our time coming up to standing. All right, we've got, I think, one more fiery pose here, and we're gonna add on to our circle sweep. So we're gonna still circle sweep up to the top, and then we're gonna take a seat down into our chair pose. So imagining we are sitting into a chair, still flowing, still moving with our breath. If we notice that we are getting tired or thirsty, of course, we can pause, we can take a drink. If we're ready to just keep moving, we can just keep moving. Okay, let's bring our hands up to the top, and we're going to switch it up like this. So we're going to take a breath in when our hands are overhead, and then as we breathe out, we're going to throw our arms away behind us. That's our pattern. Let's go like that. Inhale up, and then exhale. So that same sort of breathing that we did with our throwing our fireballs, we can do that here. Almost like we're kind of downhill skiing, but we want to make it super strong If we are feeling like we have too much energy in our bodies, this might be a way to get rid of that extra energy. We might even want to add some jumping as we go. We could make this one more light underfoot, jumping around at the top or at the bottom. So let's keep doing several more here. You could even make it sort of silly, doing lots of little hops, or really big and powerful like we're doing basketball with like a giant leap. Okay, whatever you're doing, I'm gonna do 3 more here and then we're done. 2 more. Okay, last one. And again, we have our option if we would like to tap on our collarbones. Release some of that energy. Might feel good to shake our arms and legs out. Letting everything go. Whatever you prefer, right? Some people like the collarbones. Some people like to shake it out. Some people like to, almost like we are done, wiping our hands of this. How are we doing? Okay, let's do again something to kind of bring our energy down. More smooth movement. We will step our feet wide again. So you might have to turn wherever you are. And we'll do a dancing warrior 2. We can start with our hands on our hips because our hips aren't going to move, just our feet are going to move. So we're going to turn our toes into warrior 2 in one direction. So toes turn out on one side and turn forward on the other. And then we go on the other side, pivoting our feet or spinning our feet, whatever you like to call it. Toes turn out one side and then straight forward on the other side. So if you're going with me, we're turning our right toes to the right wall and the left toes come towards the long edge of the mat. And as we go to the other side, left toes to the left side wall, right toes point towards me. And then let's take our palms up, gentle fingertips here. We can inhale and tap our fingers overhead, gentle controlled movement, and then exhale, lowering into our warrior 2. So we still have some strength in the legs, strong energy, but in our arms we can have a more gentle energy. Let's see if we can slow it down a bit more. Pausing in our warrior 2, feeling strong. And the same thing on the other side, pausing, feeling strong. And let's give ourselves a little break. Next time we come back through center, we'll turn all 10 toes straight forward. And let's come into a wide-legged forward fold. Sometimes we interlace the hands in behind the back, like we are flying upside down, and our arms are wings, winging towards the ceiling. And then we can sway our bodies like we're in a hammock. Nice and easy here. Maybe we like to bend our legs. Maybe we like to keep them straight. We have time to do many swings and see how it feels. Let's stay strong as we come on up to standing. We'll walk our feet in and let's do one more pose here. We have to focus our energy. So let's pick our good side for tree pose. I always like to start with our good side. I think I'm feeling pretty solid on this side today. I'm confident, like I'm ready to stand in tree pose on this side. So we have one foot down and then the other foot can come up a little or a lot. Maybe we want to extend our branches out to help us balance here. So I talked a little bit about getting our energy up, our energy down. Is our energy all over the place or is our energy focused? Here we have to have energy focused, right? If you try to think about too many things, we're probably going to forget to be standing on one foot and then we'll fall over. So let's just have some positive thoughts for ourselves, like maybe saying in our own minds, I'm really good at tree pose. And we focus on tree pose. Let's slowly, 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 slowly climb out of our tree. We don't want to fall out of our tree. We control how we come out of it. Let's do the other side. We don't have to put our arms out to T, but it is a pretty nice option to help us balance. And if we do fall out, we just get back up in the tree. It's all good. Choosing a positive, helpful thought to stay in the tree, remembering to breathe evenly. This side's a little trickier. We might even want our anchor breath or our thumbs on our shoulders to help us stay here. And again, we can move in slow motion to bring ourselves out of the tree and back down. So good. Okay, let's make our way back down into downward dog or child's pose, your choice. Pausing for a moment here to collect our thoughts, maybe checking in with our energy levels, seeing how we're feeling about this. To lie on our stomachs. I did mention the benefit of lying on our stomachs can sometimes be good for our mood. The only thing that's not so good for is if we just ate a big meal. So keep in mind, if we're down here, we don't want to give ourselves a stomach ache, right? So I will show us the lying on our stomachs version first, but you could also lie on your side for this one. So if we are lying on our stomachs, let's reach our arms back towards our heels, like Superman, except with our arms flying behind us instead of punching forward like Superman. And we'll do a variation of bow pose, so we can bend our legs and then reach our fingers towards our heels now, or our ankles. And if we can hold, go ahead and hold. And we'll have two chances to do this, because if anybody is lying on their side, they can do the same thing lying on their side, but we need to give them two chances so they can flip and do the other side, right? So I do want to give us the option for both, in case there's usually one person in every group who doesn't want to or can't lie on their stomach for whatever reason. Okay, so wherever we are, let's have a little rest. Maybe sleeping crocodile pose is a good one for us. We can just put our foreheads down, close our eyes, take a deep round of breath. And we'll start the same way. And it's sort of like riding the bus. You can get off at any stop along the way. You don't have to ride the bus all the way to the end of the line. So we start here lying on our stomachs. The next bus stop is reaching back towards our heels. The next one is bending the legs. If we like, we can hold the heels, but we do not have to. And yes, if we prefer lying on our sides, we could instead be lying on our side. So I hope there is something for everyone. Remember, we don't have to hold the pose too long. We can pause at any time. And when we are ready to come out of the pose, maybe we want to come down again into our sleeping crocodile, resting either our forehead or our cheek down. And then let's make our way all the way up and back to child's or downward facing dog. And then we'll make our way into a seated position. And let's do one of my favorites. So it's a variation of cow face arms, or maybe you know it as a tricep stretch. And I like to start with movement and then get into variations of stillness. So we'll go like this. One hand up and in behind the head. So our elbow is pointed up and the other hand in behind our back. We're reaching our hands towards one another. And then we're going to pinwheel or windmill, whatever you like to call it, one side and then the other. So from the back, we're going one way and the other. Your hands might be really close, they might be very far. Doesn't really matter, but what does matter is that, again, if we're thinking it's been winter, we're slouching, we're playing on our phones all day, we're squishing the body in, as we keep flowing through this position, little by little, we can open our bodies up. Again, so we can breathe more fully, hopefully give ourselves more energy. If our arm is in behind our head, we could push the head back into the arm. And let's do a little different variation here. We're going to hold our elbows above our head. And again, we can pull the arms back, we can pull the head back. If your arms are really long, it's probably easier to get in behind the head. Not everyone's arms are necessarily as long as mine, so you might find yours are in front of your head. It's okay. Let's take it to one side, stretching one side of the body. And we'll do another kind of breath while we're here. So we'll breathe in, and then let's do a long, slow breath out. Let's do the same thing the other way. So we'll take it to the other side. Breathe in, and then a long, slow breath out. And you might like to breathe like you're blowing through a straw as you breathe out. Let's come up through center. And if, like me, you start to lose feeling in your hands, you can give them a little shake. Okay, we're going to add on. You could hold your elbows again if you like. Otherwise, if we want to go further in the stretch, we can have just one elbow up. Our hand holds our elbow. Our hand is going to pull and our elbow is going to push. So we're not just hanging out here. Again, it's strong pose. And if we want to reach in behind, we can. If you can't actually hold your hands together, we can just pretend. So we can have our hands holding our shirt instead. And let's add our lean, our full breath in, and our long, slow breath out. We'll come through center, and let's take it the other way. All right, one arm up and in behind the head. Our tricep stretch, we're going to press out with our elbow, we're going to pull in with our hand. Careful that we're not reaching forward or pushing the head forward. We can push the head back. We can keep it like this and lean. We can hold our shirt and lean, or if you can interlace your hands, we can lean with them interlaced. So no matter which version we're choosing, we're getting the benefit of stretching the front of the body, breathing deeply, limbering up, hopefully feeling better. Maybe we're starting to feel a little bit slower in our energy, more peaceful. All right, let's come back through. Let's come into a variation of butterfly pose. It's probably one of the more common or popular yoga poses. So we bring the soles of the feet together. We can give our knees a little flutter or flap like they are butterfly wings. Or maybe a little shift side to side. Again, if we have some extra energy we want to get rid of, we could get rid of it here. And then let's keep working with our full breath and our long breath out. So take our full breath in, sit tall. Maybe we're blowing out like we're blowing through a straw, and we're going to come forward as we go slow, 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 slow. And then we hold. We keep going with our breath like that. Full breath in, long, slow breath out. You might like to use counting. So sometimes we breathe in for a count of 5 and out for a count of 10. And you might prefer different numbers, breathing in for 3 and out for 6. But as long as we do a long breath out, then we're in good shape. And the next time we breathe in, we can use that to bring us up to sitting, give our energy a little boost. Again, we might want to give our legs a little shake or a windshield wipe. And this will be our last one for that kind of jittery energy, and we'll come into more stillness after this. We can lie down. Maybe like me, you want to put on a sweater or a pair of socks or something like that, because we are going to come to lie still on our backs. And take your time getting there, but when you do get there, I often recommend a long stretch. So we make our bodies as long as we possibly can, maybe pointing our toes and stretching our fingertips in opposite directions. And maybe for today, we want to do another butterfly stretch. So we can stamp our feet down and then open our knees into a sleeping butterfly pose. And we have some different options for our arms. Maybe we want to again feel our breath by placing our hands on our bodies. Maybe like when we were, showing our muscles, we want our arms out like that, but with our hands relaxed. Sometimes people like their hands in behind the head. Or maybe we want to be here in more of a star pose, really opened out big. Or really any other position that feels comfortable for you. But we stay lying down to focus on relaxation. Unlike you, I'm going to sit up so I can read us through a guided visualization. So you can stay exactly as you are, and I will be here. And let's start with that breathing that we've been doing. A full breath in and a long, slow breath out. So our bodies and breath are in a position now to help us feel more sleepy. This long breath out is designed to help us fall asleep at night, to feel more calm and peaceful. Of course, it's your breathing, only you know what you're doing. If it doesn't feel good, please breathe in a way that does feel good or feels calm or peaceful. And then with that long, slow breath out, let's notice how heavy the body feels. Can we be completely relaxed here and allow the body to feel heavier? And maybe we're imagining we're in a giant comfy bed with a million pillows, and our bodies are sinking into the super soft bed, comfortable and warm. Or maybe you, instead of imagining you're in a bed, you're imagining that you're in a meadow, or maybe you're lying on a big float out in a lake somewhere. But bring to mind the image of a place that feels really safe and comfortable for you. And allowing our bodies to become sleepy in this safe, comfortable place, resting down. Maybe we put a gentle smile on our faces, or imagine the warmth of the sun on our faces. let's move our awareness around our bodies here. Noticing the entire back of the body. Noticing all parts of the body that are touching the floor or your mat beneath you. Feeling the back of the body is heavy. And again, picturing in your mind your safe, comfortable space that you're in. And now noticing the front of the body. Noticing how the body moves with each breath in. Maybe noticing the feeling of your clothes on your skin or the air on your skin. Noticing the feeling of your whole body. And then again, seeing if you can sense the energy in your body. Sometimes we notice our energy through our emotions. Noticing if we're feeling comfortable emotions or uncomfortable emotions. Are they giving us a sense of lots of energy or very little energy? Maybe somewhere in the middle. And in your mind, finding a few words to describe how you're feeling with your emotions and your energy. And let's see if we can bring a peaceful energy into our bodies. Every time we breathe in, saying to ourselves, peaceful. And every time we breathe out, saying to ourselves, comfortable. And of course, these words are just suggestions. You might have a couple of different words you would like to use, but let's breathe and repeat these words to ourselves. Inhaling peaceful, exhaling comfortable. Making a mental note for ourselves here that we can come back to peace and comfort or any of our other feelings in our mind at any time. With some movement, some breathing. And let's start at this moment now to bring some more energy into our bodies. Maybe we start moving. You might want to stay exactly where you are a little bit longer, but I will give us the opportunity to finish sitting up together. As we come to seated, again we can check in with how we're feeling. Seeing how long and tall our spines are, maybe feeling more open in our hearts. Maybe yes, maybe no. And no matter where we are in our bodies or our energy, we can accept ourselves as we are. We are good enough just the way we are. And let's finish by bringing our energy together. We'll take one more big breath in together. We can stretch overhead, bringing our hands into heart. Thank you so much for choosing to spend this time here with me today. From my light to yours, namaste.